If love was a crime,
then we would be criminals.
But you know what? In this situation, there are a whole lot of criminals running around Eurovision 2017. A lot of things didn't go as they should. Should we talk about it?
How many do we have?
We have 11. Are you ready?
Let's do this!
Yes, it is that time of year. We asked our readers on social media to name their top crimes of Eurovision 2017. We've compiled them, we've consulted with the House of Wee, our team of bloggers, and we have a list.
Can I just add?
Yes.
We wanted 10, but at some point we had to draw the line.
We had to draw the line, which takes us to number 11, Latvia finishing dead last in its semi-final. That's not next to last, that's dead last.
It certainly didn't finish dead last in our wee jury. I mean, this is...
Or among our readers.
It's a shock.
This was closing the show. It was bright, it was colorful, it was a different note, a different tone, very original. The public ranked it 16th, ahead of only Czech Republic and Slovenia.
Which is a shock in itself.
And the jury put it dead last with how many points?
0.
1 point.
Might as well have been 0. It made no difference.
That's the same as San Marino in the other semifinal.
Oh, it's bad.
It's funny, I don't know what to make of this. I mean, my roommate, okay, not my roommate, my husband, he was like, oh, she's not likable, and he doesn't follow Eurovision. He's like, the girl's scary and unlikable and her voice isn't good. So maybe it's because we know Agnieszka, we know she's lovely, we've heard her sing acoustic, we know she can sing, we know that she's a very kind person, but maybe on TV that didn't come across to casual viewers.
You know, but hang on, Eurovision also draws a really wide demographic, so...
Does it?
Yeah,
for
so
the
people that don't like her, there'll also be people that love her for that. She doesn't sit in the middle.
Well,
so your husband...
clearly she didn't sit in the middle, she sat near the end of the queue, because she came last. I don't get it. She closed the show, so the staging was bright and happy and funky and different.
It's shocking. I mean, for me, it is a crime. Personally, for me, I've always said it, I love the studio cut. I'm less enthused on the live version. That said, it would have still qualified for me.
I'm the opposite. I prefer the live version to the studio version. It would have qualified for me.
Yeah.
In any case, we close the bars on that one and move on to crime number 10, the hosts. I'm sorry, they were boring.
In the league right now, we have Sweden with 274 points. But there are still more of your points to avoid.
Oh, this is so tense.
Yeah, it really is.
Oh, I like them. You know, Sasha, Timur, and Alexander.
Listen,
No.
The other
Volva.
They're very attractive, very nice to...
Volodymyr.
Very nice to look at.
Oh god, yeah.
The jokes weren't funny. Maybe that's the writing team and not them. They just weren't delivering. I asked someone, among the Ukrainian volunteers, I said, is it a language issue? Is it because they're not speaking in English that their comic timing is so bad? And she said, no, they're not funny in Ukrainian either.
For me, the issue is, in a contest that is celebrating diversity, it's just not diverse enough to have... It's almost like it's gone in the opposite direction.
Let's just say it, 3 white men.
Yeah, but you know like how Eurovision would have like, usually a male presenter and a female presenter.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's kind of... So they've even kind of gone against that.
Austria had a black woman, Arabella Kiesbauer Honey.
Yeah, they were building bridges in Austria. And I just felt that this time round, my god, you could have been more diverse, because on ground in Kiev is relatively diverse.
Oslo 2010, they had a blonde guy, they had 2 women, one of the women, had some coloring. It was more diverse. In a place that's perhaps a bit more pink as well. In any case, I love Timur though. I think Timur is quite funny, actually.
Are they?
He was in the green room.
They're 3 straight white men, right? So that even puzzles me more. Like, couldn't you even find a pink one?
Yeah, someone with a better tan. In any case, if you pour water on them, smoke would come out. Look, let's just move on. Number 9. This is a literal crime. It is the streaker Vitaly Sayduk flashing his ASS during Jamala's
performance.
This was her celebratory moment. I've won Eurovision, I've brought it to Ukraine, and a man runs out and shows his bomb.
In such poor taste.
Poor taste.
Such poor taste.
Really poor taste. Honestly, there was so much security. We were having to turn on our cameras, open our computers, do all these things. They had our passport numbers. They knew all of our background. And yet a man is able to move from the audience onto the circular stage and flash his ass. How did that happen?
How does that even happen?
It's a crime. And
the security in Ukraine was like the toughest ever.
Fort Knox. It was like airport level security just to plug in your computer.
Yeah.
You'd look up from your desk, you'd see a man with a club.
In the press room, the security officials lined the four walls. Literally, you want to go and get water by the water fountain.
Man with a club.
Two of them.
I don't know if you noticed this, but where we were sitting, if you looked up in the rafters,
oh my god.
there was a man with a gun patrolling.
How could you not notice that?
And yet someone's able to move from the audience to the stage. Thank God he was just a streaker and a prankster, and he wasn't someone with an actual weapon or someone who wanted to harm our Queen Jamala.
But it shows gaps in security.
Gaps, major gaps. But you know what? Credit to Jamala. She kept singing.
Oh, professional!
She kept slaying.
She did. And in fact, she was on one of her high notes at that point.
She just, I don't find this funny. If it wasn't Jamala, I would laugh. Someone actually said, oh, the streaker made the performance better. Not true.
No, it's disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
It's disrespectful.
She is our queen. We move on to number 8. This came up very, very frequently on Twitter. You have the honor.
Austria getting 0 from the televote.
0.
With 0 points, it is Austria.
Honestly, sure, maybe some people didn't like the song. How does this get 0?
I tell you how. So like Gabriela Gunchikova.
Oh my god, that got 0.
0 from the televote. And I've now come to realise getting 0 from the televotes could actually even mean 500,000 people were voting.
True.
So 0 does not mean nobody called to vote. It just means
you didn't get in the top 12
of the scoring board
of any country.
So I'd like to think that
he was consistently 13th.
yeah, and he was just very close to getting a point.
I hope he doesn't take this to heart because he's much better than that. I think he had the first half draw. His song is sleepy, so in this field of exploding everything, of course it's not going to necessarily stand out. He wanted to do different staging. They had ideas for amazing staging, but they had to go with plan C because their proposals kept getting rejected because they were too technically advanced for what was capable.
Seems to be the theme, the recurring theme in Kiev. I must admit though, I'm glad the music expert saved him, because I would have thought that Nathan Trent would have actually pulled votes from the televote.
I would have as well.
I would have thought that would have been his strength, and the jury's punishing him. So it's interesting it's flipped the other way around.
Mr. Congeniality. I say this, he's lovely. He's so kind. Like, when he comes to London, I want to hang, let's have a coffee, let's shoot the shit. He's amazing. I think he can, I say this as a compliment, could be a West End star, a Broadway star, because he's got the personality, the neutral accent.
And the tenacity.
Yes.
He has real staying power. He's just happy all the time.
And he's got that voice. Honestly, he could be a Broadway star. I see him winning Tonys, and I know he should pursue the pop thing, obviously, but I just think he's got that West End quality.
I see him picking up an Olivier Award.
Let's do this. Done. All right. We move on to crime number 7. Russia's absence from Eurovision.
You know what, and this is one that people beat us over all the time, but you know what, it had to be in this video, because we missed Russia.
Is my cat... What is that?
Is that my phone?
It's not my cat dying, is it?
No, it's not.
Oh, thank God.
People beat us up all the time that, we should get over Russia, we should get over this. But you know what? We're here for the music.
Yeah.
And Russia was noticeably absent. We are here to celebrate diversity in Ukraine, and guess what happens?
Yeah, this is not a political thing. We just want the most countries to participate that can. Blame goes on both sides. They get banned, and then Russia, they're like, oh, we're not coming. It was just a lot of sour grapes on each side owing to the ongoing political conflict between them, and it bled into the contest, which is unfortunate for everyone, because as Christer Bjorkman told me in an interview, Russia, countries of the East, they bring spice, they bring flavor, and I missed having that. We hope to see them back next year, along with Ukraine as well. There may be sanctions, but I just hope both countries
I just hope that both can just be there.
They make the contest better, both of them. Both Ukraine and Russia.
Absolutely.
So we'll leave it at that. We move on to number 6. This came up very frequently as well. The UK only got 15th overall, and how many televotes? 12. 12 televotes, which
from predicted countries like Malta, Spain,
Ireland, Australia.
12 points to the United Kingdom.
Now look, I can understand this not being your number one, but for this to only get 12 televotes, why?
Yeah, it blows my mind.
I think 15th overall is a respectable result.
You predicted that.
I did
didn't you?
predict that. So many other people. I'm thinking this would be lucky to come top 10 actually. I just felt that wow moment actually isn't so wow in the middle of the show after sitting through all of this, and maybe it's because I'm run down and tired. I think this will be the UK's best result in a while. It will do about the same or a little bit better than Molly Smitten Downs. But it's also a very respectable result, and you need to situate this in the context of previous years. Like last year, what did they come? Much lower, significantly lower.
Last year was nowhere
Think of
near
Electro
as-
Velvet.
Yeah, but they were just nowhere near as
Look,
good as this year.
Lucy beat Molly Smitten Downs, another entry people loved, so this is progress, but I still don't get the televote. It's very low, and I think the reason it's low is because it is a very theatrical West End performance, and maybe...
That's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but maybe that's not germane to Eurovision. Maybe the lesson here is don't send that type of song to Eurovision.
No! Lord Lloyd Webber with My Time ranked top
That's
5
true.
at Eurovision
That's
with
true.
a very West End song performed by a very West End
Yes,
person.
that's actually, I give you that, yes.
With a West End composer.
And she also had a good draw as well.
Yeah.
She had a very good draw. I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, I would have expected the UK to have been in the top 10.
I think she definitely deserved more televotes. That's
Yeah.
what I will say, 100%.
And more jury respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, she should have been top 10. Done. Easy.
I could have lived with 10. I could have lived
Yeah,
with 10.
I could have lived with 10.
Absolutely. All right. Well, speaking of which, oh no, not speaking of which, we move on to number 5. This has really lit up our comment section on wiwibloggs, and that is what is perceived by many as the jury's overrating of Australia. If we look in the semi-final, the public put them 15th, but the jury put them 2nd. The jury gave them 108.
That's such a wide margin.
Huge margin. The jury gave them 139 points in the semi-final, and the televoters only gave them 21. It's a discrepancy of 118 points. In the final, the jury ranked them 4th. Yeah, but the public, I think, put them next to last, only giving them 2 points. It's a huge discrepancy, and you've got to think, Australia plays by the rules. I'm not in any way suggesting anything dodgy. I just think that maybe Australia benefits from like the sheen of being Australia. Do you know what I mean? The polish, the expense.
I have to say, this is a good crime, and I tell you why. First of all, there's a lot of sentiment in Europe that Australia shouldn't be participating in the contest, and
which I disagree with.
Which I completely disagree with. So you need music experts to be there to judge the song's merits or the performer's merits. In addition to that, when a stupid prank had to be played on Jamala, the idiot brought an Australian flag, again to further hurt Australia. So this is depicted in the televote results where people weren't picking up the phone to vote for a country that comes to the dinner party late and then spoils it for everybody else.
How do you explain that disparity? Do you think this was the 4th best song overall in the grand final?
No, but I think it deserved to have gone through. And if we had gone by televote alone, it wouldn't have gone through.
But did it deserve to go through in 2nd position?
If it had gone through any lower, it wouldn't have gone through. So if it had gone through in 5th,
Deban,
jury.
just answer the question. Do you think the jury overrated this?
No, I don't think the jury overrated it. It's not Lithuania coming first. It's Australia coming 2nd. I can live with that. I really can.
Okay, in the grand final, it was placed higher than Netherlands, Norway, Italy, Moldova, Belgium, UK, Austria, Azerbaijan, Denmark, Armenia, Romania, Belarus, Hungary, Greece, France, Cyprus, Israel, Croatia, Poland, Ukraine, Germany, Spain. Was it better than all of those acts?
No.
Okay, so
for me, that's my ranking.
Yeah, it's just very curious, and I think it's curious. Also, I think just 2 points in the televote. Maybe that's too harsh. Maybe. It's just an interesting result. Australia has a halo. Dami Eam remains perhaps my favorite performance of all time.
Again, she won the jury vote.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
So again, it boils down to personal taste.
But this is nowhere near as good as Dami Eam on any level.
But I just don't think it's as bad as the televoters rank it.
All right, well, we move on. We move on to the 4th biggest crime, looking at our social media. It's France coming 19th with the jury.
You take my smile and make it bright. Before the night erase the light, I won't go below to the sky. The only dark is in your eyes. pleure, mais on survit quand maître. C'est la beauté du requiem.
19.
That is bad.
Yeah,
that is
really bad. It's 7 from bottom. The televoters put this 10th. France deserved more. Alma deserved more. This went last. I think my takeaway, maybe the jury doesn't like how they played on French cliches, because the cityscape, it was playing on French cliches. I personally loved it because they took it in a new, innovative direction. She was dancing on the Eiffel Tower. She was dancing alongside the Eiffel Tower. To me, it was beautiful. It was lovely. She sounded great. She looked great. It was innovative. For them to put this that low blows my mind.
And it's bringing your country to the contest, which essentially Eurovision is about identity music.
Yeah.
And I think in addition to that, it was playful. The running order was in its favor. How could this come 19th? I really don't get it.
It blows my mind. It blows my mind. It was ranked below Portugal, Bulgaria, Sweden, Australia, Netherlands, Norway, Italy, Moldova, Belgium, United Kingdom, Austria, Azerbaijan, Denmark, Armenia, Romania, Belarus, Hungary, Greece.
That's bad.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Do you think they're jealous of France's? No, they're not. It's just
I don't think they are. And it's hard to know what they're sort of reacting to. You'd like to think juries act independently anyway and don't consult each other. It's difficult to tell, but this was so unfair.
It's unfair. A beautiful French language song.
Yeah, that resonates with the public.
I'm lost for words. We move on to number 3, our third biggest crime of Eurovision 2017. Blackbird, blackbird, don't fly to the final.
You sang when he was in my bed. You sang when my heart said now. Now you remind me of something I'll never have. So blackbird, don't sing.
10th with the public, so it would have gone through. 12th with the juries. I think it's a victim of the running order. I think it was in that early half of the first semi with lots of ballads, including Portugal, Salvador Sobral. So it's just unfortunate. That was the ballad of the year. Let's face it, Portugal was the ballad of the year. And so perhaps this stole the thunder of the Blackbird. Is that what happened?
But that is why you have music experts to step in. Again, it's a song that I thought would have been very jury friendly.
Yes. Absolutely.
You know, so coming in 10th with the televote should have totally secured its spot in the final. Because you would imagine the juries ranking this top 5.
The staging was so atmospheric and so beautiful and so different. Everyone else is blowing things up. They took it back to black. Simple, simple, simple. You know, at a time people are being OTT, they pared it back. I loved it. My only explanation is perhaps this song is not as immediate as some of the others. We've heard it many times. It took us time to fall in love with it, but once we fell in love,
it took me a long time actually.
And so maybe it's just the immediacy. Whereas Portugal is also quiet, but there's an immediacy to it for whatever reason. I really feel bad for them because I think they worked so hard. They went on the promo tour. They went everywhere. They were so kind. They gave interviews. It's not easy to sing that song in a gay bar or club, and then went
the way they sing it, it's not easy because they pour every fiber of their existence into it, and it's so emotional. It just takes on a very somber textured tone, and to kind of then not be rewarded by the people that you're actually appeasing, because this is a jury song.
It's a jury song, and yet it did better with televoters. It blows my mind. I just feel so bad for them. This was quality, and it will go down as one of the most quality acts of this year, and yet it was screwed over. Running order, placement, there are lots of things. It's
but those things really shouldn't really matter.
But they do, and I think they were just a victim of circumstances in some ways. All right, we move on. Now this next one is curious. We did a post on wiwibloggs, and we went through all the voting results, and essentially the favorites penalized the other favorites, or rather the juries
with the notable exception of Italy, who played fair.
So Portugal, Bulgaria, Italy. These were the 3 favorites in the betting odds. Portugal and Bulgaria, their juries give each other 0 points.
It's just
0
crazy.
points. And also Italy. They also blanked Italy. Whereas Italy gave both Portugal and Bulgaria points. So the jurors in Italy played fair. Whereas in Portugal and Bulgaria, there was a bias. And because they both did it, it made no difference in the end. And even if one of them had and the other hadn't, the result would have been the same, but it's more the principle here. It's the principle that as jurors, you should put that stuff to the side and vote for the best song. In a closer year, it could have made a difference.
I can understand it not being your first, or even your runner-up, But 0?
Yeah, that means out of your top.
Oh, give me a break.
It's just so clear, so obvious. And then I think both of them chose random countries as their top 12 that didn't do well elsewhere. It's not non.
It's dirty.
It's dirty. And the Bulgarian team, to their credit, have come out and said, oh, we'll work to make this better in the future. They've noticed it, and they also agree it's shady. So
but it doesn't work in retrospect. So to me, that is just a really, really measly consolation.
But I'm glad it didn't actually impact the results. So because if it had impacted the results, shit would be burning. Stuff would be on fire. My computer would be like, woo, flame, honey. All right, but Deban, look, there were so many other things we could have put on this list that we wanted to put on this list because Eurovision is not fair. Some people get the short end of the stick. But in our minds, in our readers' minds, in our commenters' mind, there's one thing that just doesn't make sense.
It's about romance turning into drama.
And we're gonna have a drum roll. Just name the country at your convenience.
Estonia!
Yes, honey. Laura's mic
Failed!
How?
Mute!
When you rehearse for 2 weeks on this stage, you have someone tasked with making sure the mic is on. For a split second, her mic was off.
Wake up with a bottle in hands.
This is her moment. She will not get this moment back. These 3 minutes will never happen again, and it is ruined. Whenever she watches it on YouTube, she's gonna notice they say Estonia and there's silence.
And you know what's really shocking? With in-ears, you don't hear anything but yourself. So when your mic fails, and you don't even hear that, it'll take you a while to actually find your feet.
And think about it, you're like, oh my god, do I keep going? Do I stop? Are they gonna start over? She kept
It's
going.
a live show.
It's awful.
It's a live show. What was she supposed to do?
This was her moment, this was their moment, and it's tarnished by that, and it breaks your heart because it was a fan favorite. It was a personal favorite. It is among, if not the most played song this year on my iPhone. I just really bleed for them. My heart bleeds for them. Looking at the voting, the public still put them 6th. The juries put them next to last, behind Lithuania and Slovenia.
How is that even possible?
Fused Mark was rated higher than this by the professionals.
Yeah.
Yeah. The music professionals put Lithuania ahead of this.
Again, is it going back to punishing a favorite because they thought that Estonia could win?
They only beat one country, San Marino.
It just doesn't make
It doesn't make any sense to me. And
But Greece was offered the opportunity to perform again after technical failures. And why wasn't Estonia given that opportunity?
I don't think they requested it.
Oh, but
I spoke to
there should be a referee, a moderator who would say, fair is fair, regardless of request, we would like to offer this to you.
So I spoke to someone on their team afterwards. I said, what went wrong? And he said, we didn't get enough votes. But the way he said it, it almost sounded like televotes. Even he didn't necessarily think it was the jury. It wasn't enough jury votes. The jury really dragged this down. Can I just read you all the countries that finished higher than Estonia in this semi-final?
It's every country but one.
Romania, Croatia, Hungary, Israel, Belarus, Switzerland, former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, Lithuania, Bulgaria, Ireland, Serbia, Norway, Netherlands, Malta, Austria, Denmark.
I could have sworn to you that this would have finished top 5 in the final.
In the final!
It blows my mind. And although we're saying that the #1 crime is Estonia's mic fail, I feel it's a bit of a double-hander. It's also the crime that it was ranked so low by the jury.
I can't believe it, actually. And it's funny, I played my partner this because he hadn't been following it as closely as we had. I was like, oh, did this, would you have put this through? And he's like, the guy singing looks constipated and is really cheesy, and why is he going like this? So yeah, okay, even if you take that into consideration, that still doesn't put it 17th. Jury, rank it 9 or 10 if you don't love it, but it doesn't make sense. It almost, I'm just speechless. And I have verbal diarrhea all the time.
And by the way, we have a video dedicated to Estonia alone. So I feel that we should just wrap this up because we've talked about it. There's nothing new we can bring to it because we've deconstructed this so many times. we've evaluated it. Goodness, even if they were lip syncing to their worst studio version, I'm still buying it. Oh yes, honey!
Listen, Coy and Laura, I gotta tell you something. First of all, thank you for the vinyl.
You should have autographed it.
It's really nice. It's amazing. I thought I would have a chance for them to autograph this after the grand final, because they would have been in the press.
Yeah.
Because they were supposed to be there. This is going up on my wall. This song is amazing. They are amazing. You know, who knows if they'll come back to Eurovision. It would be a third time for both of them, but it's unlikely, because once you've been once, it's unlikely you're coming back again, and then if you've been twice, what are the odds?
And you know the joke of it? They tried to kill them at Estilau.
You know, yeah, the jury did try to kill them at Estilau.
And they survived that.
And the televoter saved them. Why don't the music professionals like this? Look, we could go on for an hour, but look, you guys are amazing. We love your track. I actually paid for this track. I paid for it. And you know, I don't pay for music. I downloaded it.
Honey, and that's what the remix is. I love it.
I love them. I'm sending all my strength to Estonia, Estilau. You know what? I have a feeling Estonia is going to be pissed about this, and they're going to come back next year even more fierce and ferocious. Because they didn't make it in 2016. They finished last. This year, the jury puts them next to last. They're going to be angry. There's going to be fire, and I hope they burn the house down.
One thing I like that you said earlier on is that the EBU should have some kind of compensation program.
Oh, yeah.
I feel that coming sixth with the televoters when your mic fails, you would have even done better had it been a hitch-free performance.
Give them a 50% discount on their fee next year, something, because they got screwed. They really got screwed. And then that's separate to the jury, that's just the mic. In any case, those are the top crimes of Eurovision 2017 as determined by our readers and the team at wiwibloggs. What are your biggest crimes? What did we leave out? What's your number one? Let us know here on wiwibloggs.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media channels, and they include YouTube, Facebook, Tumblr, Pinterest, Snapchat, Instagram.
Did you say Twitter?
Twitter.
Yes, so let us know your nasties and misdemeanors on all of those. We'll see you later. Bye!